Hello, sweet souls. How are you? How are you feeling? How are you moving through this world? How is your body? How do you feel in your body? I am going to encourage you to pay close attention to the vessel which hosts your soul and your humanness. Today, I'm coming in with something that's a little bit different. And that is because during ritual this morning, I heard the message, the transmission of exactly what I needed to share. And that was how I am navigating my life today through softness with ease, how I structure my week and my schedule to align with particular energies that are supporting me, that allow me to not just be action oriented when I need to, but also lean into the softness, lean into the yin, lean into the organic nature of my body such that I feel in alignment as often as possible. Now, I know that's not possible all the time, right? But it is something that I endeavor to do as often as possible. So, I'm going to get into it now. Before I do, for those of you who are new, hello, my name is Maggie. I'm a storyteller and a writer, and I have spent many, many years learning how to listen to my soul and its voice, and how to harmonize the soul and the humanness within me, such that I live a life that is filled with wildness and joy and adventure and prosperity and ease and love as often as possible. In fact, it really is my sort of modus operandi right now, especially in this moment. I think that's why I heard the ancestors say you need to share the practical way you live your life such that you can hold space for all of your energies, for the fullness that is you. Now, I'm going to begin by saying, first and foremost, if you're watching me, let's see, you could be very much in your yin energy, or you could be very much in your yang energy. And for me, that is the feminine energy within you or the masculine energy within you. And listen, all is allowed. There will be people in this world who tell you, you need to be more this, or you need to be more that. And also, naturally, this world has created systems and structures that require many of those who prefer to be in our softness and our feminine. The world has called us into the more masculine energy. And again, all is allowed. I invite you in this moment, into neutrality around the potential judgment of this way or that way, prioritize this or that, right? All is allowed. The one thing I've heard from the soul more than anything is that listening within, listening to that voice within, that inner guidance, that exists to help us harmonize the energies within us in such a way that we can call forth whatever is needed in any given moment, right? Yes, I am moving through a cycle, a season of really resting into my yin energy, into my feminine energy. And yes, I also call forth the yang or masculine energy within me in any given moment when it's required, right? So for me, my, they're saying there is no goal, right? Every moment requires a different version of you. And also, if there was an intention, it is to allow harmony between those energies, okay? So, This within me has developed through devotion, intention, gratitude, and reverence. Like, this is how I've been able to harmonize these energies. But I want to share practically what that looks like in a given week, what that looks like according to the days, right? And there's a lot of things that factor into how I spend my days and how I organize my time, how I run my business, how I work with my clients. And I want to share on a high level what that looks like across a given week. Understanding that, like, there are different seasons for different things. I am currently in a season where there is a little bit more structure in my life. Saturn has moved into Aries, and I am inviting in the right sort of discipline. And the right one is just whatever feels good to me in this moment. That's all it is. But I'm inviting in the right structure to cultivate my softness, to allow me to stay soft, but to also get the stuff done that I wish to get done, like call forth the creations that wish to come to life. So I'm going to just share this with you and break it down. I'm going to start with Mondays, and we'll move through the week. So Mondays are ruled by the moon. And so they are days to tend to our emotions. And so I invite you on Monday to pay particular attention to what you feel in your body. That means on Mondays, I schedule things that cultivate space for me to feel, whatever that means. So that could mean going to a yin yoga class where I can move slowly and stay in my body and feel what I need to feel. That could mean going to get a massage or scheduling any sort of like um, care for myself on those days, whether that means going to get a massage or going to a doctor's appointment. I will reserve it for Mondays if I can, because it's beautiful to feel in the presence of other space holders, folks who are designed to help you hold what's occurring in your life. So Mondays are very soft and intuitive for me. I allow myself to feel and vibe with the moon. And this particular week was a little bit extra because there was a new moon on Monday. And so I was really just in it. Like, I like cooked all my meals and I paid attention to the food that I ate. I worked with the energies within me to just move from moment to moment. And I think that's what the soul has invited me into as often as possible, to move moment by moment, to live from the guidance that rises from within. So that's a Monday. Let's go to Tuesday. Tuesday is ruled by Mars. And for me, I am very affected by that. It is an action oriented day. So typically, I'll do some movement in the morning that's a little bit more active to cultivate that fiery energy within me. And then I will get stuff done. And I'll do it in chunks, like a 3 hour chunk in the morning and a 3 hour chunk in the afternoon, taking breaks every hour to just move and to not be seated at a desk. But that's typically when I do a lot of my client work, um, or my project work, or stuff that requires strategy and action, right? So I do those things on Tuesdays. Let's go to Wednesday. Wednesday is one of my favorite days. I'm going to say that about a bunch of the next days that are coming up. But Wednesday is ruled by Mercury, and thus it is all about communication and how we express ourselves in the world. And so Wednesdays are typically the days that I record videos here or that I write here for the content I'm going to create for my community, for my clients, for YouTube, for any of it. Wednesday is a beautiful day for communication and helping you align with the energies that help you express in a way that just feels true to your soul. So I do work on Wednesdays. It tends to be around content creation more than anything, whether it's for myself or for a client that I work with. So that's how I feel into Wednesdays. That's what I do on Wednesdays. It just feels like a really supportive energy for expressing in the world, for finding your voice and using it. So that's how I work with Wednesdays. So Thursdays are really, well, they are probably my favorite day. Thursday is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is all about prosperity and abundance. And the way I organize my Thursdays is I put the projects on those days that I wish to infuse with the most prosperous energy. Typically, I will put new projects on those days. So, right now, in this current season of my life, Thursdays are being used for me to write this new body of work that I'm working on. And I wish to infuse it with life, like with aliveness. I want to bring it to life. It's currently a kernel of an idea, it's an outline, and I really am ready to power it such that in 6 months it is alive and done and maybe out in the world in some capacity. And that's why I put it on Thursdays. I organize my days on Thursdays, usually in 3-hour chunks, where I will write in the morning and I will write in the afternoon. Um, and I often incorporate calls with new projects or new work or new clients on that day to really infuse my endeavors with like luck and joy and aliveness and prosperity. I will say that Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, those are my big work days. Those are my big client days. Those are days where I focus very actively on the projects that I'm working on the clients that I'm working with. That does not mean that I spend all day, every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday working on client projects. My days are organized a little bit differently, and I will tell you about that after we go through all the days. So let's get to Friday. Friday is my favorite day. I don't know if I can keep saying that, but Friday is really one of my favorite days. It is ruled by Venus, so I focus on beauty and art on that day and just sort of like luxuriating in receptivity and moving moment by moment. Right now, that looks like yoga on that day. That looks like going to see a space holder on that day who holds space for me. Um, that will look like I literally have blocks scheduled in the day for me to just read, or for me to go out and see the world, or for me to go see a museum, something that is just going to cultivate the beauty that is me, right? The love that is right here within me. So Fridays are gorgeous days. I'm usually also focused on cooking all my meals from scratch, whereas maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, when I'm deep in work, deep working with clients, you may notice that I may notice that I'll assemble meals. I'll like cook some things and put them together. Whereas on Mondays and Fridays, I'm really spending more time in the kitchen, spending more time creating, spending more time putting a beautiful dish together. And if you follow me on Instagram or if you subscribe to my newsletter, then you see some of those images. I really focus on beauty on Friday. Um, and then Saturdays and Sundays, there is no day that is reserved just for work or just for pleasure these days. Um, Saturdays, ruled by Saturn, are very productive days for me. Um, but in a very different way. I'm sort of organizing my personal life. I'm going grocery shopping. I'm going to yoga. Um, I'm picking things up that I need. Um, I'm thinking about what I want to eat over the course of the following week so I can think about doing some meal planning. Um, Saturdays feel like a bow where I wrap up the week and just refill my coffers in some way. And on Sunday, Sunday is a favorite day too, but that's because it's ruled by the sun and I have a lot of sun energy in my chart. So Sundays have shifted. Typically in the past, I will record videos or make content on Sundays, but I've heard this invitation to shift and to really just bask in the sun on Sundays and to really allow the codes and the information from the sun and from within sort of guide what might be unfolding over the course of the week. So there's a lot more ease on Sundays. There's a lot of receptivity on Sundays. I am in the kitchen making something in a larger batch that I'll eat over the course of Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Um, I'm reading. I'm going and taking a coffee out in the world versus staying home, just so I can bask in the sun. So that gives you a high level of what Monday through Sunday looks like. But I think it's important that we get really specific on what is a non negotiable every single day for me. This is how I have cultivated softness and ease in my life. And that means my mornings, from when I wake up in the morning till about 10 or 11, they are entirely about me. These days till about 10, but they are entirely about what I need to feel full, to feel nourished, to feel alive. And every morning's a little different, but it almost always starts with waking. And after I wash my face, I go into the kitchen and I make a cup of cacao. And I take that cacao back to bed or to some place in my home. I light a candle, I light incense, and I sip that cacao with my soul and with any of the other energies that are around me, the ancestors, my spirit guides. And I'm drinking cacao and I'm sort of sitting with the dreams that came up overnight. And I'm allowing my soul to surface any wisdom or guidance for me. I'm speaking to my soul. Once that's done, I then move into cultivating some space for my body. So that will look like going out for a walk. And I'm trying to go out for a walk every morning, early in the morning, because where I live is super hot. And so it's only cool enough to walk first thing in the morning. At least that's my opinion. Um, so I'll go for a walk and then I will come home and I will get on the yoga mat and I will be on the yoga mat for at least 30 minutes. And that involves all types of different stretching, but I move intuitively. My yoga practice involves not just asanas, not just meditation, not just breathing, but also some somatic work that allows me to move emotions out of the body. So, different movements that help me shake things out of the body. So, we go from cacao and reverence and devotion to worshiping the body, moving it, and helping it regulate in some way. And then we'll eat breakfast, whatever that is that morning. And that could be a smoothie, that could be eggs. I personally like to have a lot of protein at every meal, all 3 meals of the day. So I am focused on protein and I'm focused on my supplements, whatever I take to add in to cultivate my aliveness. So I'll eat breakfast, and with breakfast, I'll typically make tea or coffee. And then after I eat breakfast, I will get ready for whatever the day is ahead of me. And on a Tuesday, as I've mentioned, that will mean that I'll want to be at my desk by 10 a.m. because I have meetings or because I have clients to work with. On a Friday, that'll mean I may get up and go to yoga. So after doing my own stuff, I will get up and go to an organized yoga class, right, outside of my home, because I do want to cultivate space for community throughout my day to feel into the energies of the world. But those, let's see, I wake up around 6, sometimes a little later, depending on the season. But those 3 to 4 hours in the morning, those are all about me, all about cultivating and nourishing the temple that is here, like worshiping at the altar that is me, so that I am ready for my day, whatever that means. And I'm typically winding down around 6 and eating a meal around 6. I eat early because I go to sleep early, because that is what suits this body right now. I've lived the years where I stayed up late and woke up late, but this body wants to wake up really early. I love to wake up with the sun, so that requires me to go to sleep early. So that, I think, I hope, gives you a little bit of a picture of how I organize my days for um, living my life and doing my work, and how I organize my morning for softness and ease and receptivity. I heard the call to come in and tell you all this because I changed how I spend my days on purpose, slowly, methodically, with intention. This did not just happen overnight. This ease that I invited, this organization that I invited into my life, it is something that this body called forth when it decided we were no longer living by someone else's rules. We were no longer going to allow the more aggressive energies outside of us to tell us how to live our life, right? And I was no longer going to allow the masculine energy and the human within me to be in charge all of the time. I finally recognized that I was a soul and that my feminine energy was my priority in this season of life. In fact, I was on a phone call with a friend yesterday, and she was asking, how's everything? How everything's going? And I said, it's so wild, but I am being called into even more softness, even more ease, so that I may continue to attune to the energies and to the resonance of any particular moment. Because love does not get cultivated through rushing. It does not get cultivated through a push energy all the time, right? Love gets cultivated in the softness that we allow for ourselves. And so the more I spoke to my soul and allow its wisdom and guidance to surface, the more I was called to totally shift my life slowly, methodically, right? I'm sharing this with you now because, one, I know there are some of you that cannot control all of your days, or also maybe you think you cannot control all of your days. All of it is possible. There's a wide spectrum in there. Some of you can't change certain things. And there are some of you who can, who have the capacity to shift how you spend your days, who have the freedom to be able to decide what you do on a Monday versus a Tuesday versus a Friday, right? And I also want to let you know that, like, much of this emerged the more I personally merged with the wisdom of the Mayan Sacred Calendar, which for me is a, a system of my lineage that called me in to attune to the energies of this world and how they are here to support our evolution, right? The Mayan sacred calendar called me into softness too, because if I wasn't still and quiet and at ease with myself, there's no way I'd be able to hear the calendar. There's no way I'd be able to hear its energies. If I wasn't still and quiet with myself, there's no way I'd be able to hear the ancestors, right? The way we develop and attune to not just hearing ourselves, but hearing our ancestors, hearing other energies that wish to collaborate with us, we do that through stillness, through attunement, through quiet, in whatever way makes sense. So this is just one way, but I heard the call to tell you what my week was like, what my day is like. Understanding that, like, things change, things shift. Later this year, I'll be traveling for a while, and I know that that means my schedule's going to shift a little bit. But the one thing that won't shift is I will wake up each morning and I will make a cup of cacao or a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and I will sit in stillness for 5 minutes or an hour, whatever time I have allotted. Another thing that won't change is I will get outside and create the space to take care of my body, whatever that means, right? It could mean taking a walk. It could mean walking down to the corner cafe. It could mean getting on a yoga mat, right? I actually travel with my yoga mat because being on the mat is vital for my nervous system regulation, for my somatic attunement, for the cultivation of my soul. That's a vital practice to me. So I'm just listening to see if there's anything else that wishes to come forth. As you begin to detach yourself from whatever system you feel may control you, this is the ancestors. As you begin to detach yourself from whatever system may control you, we invite you into devotion. We invite you into reverence of self, of soul. We invite you into harmony within, because it is in that space that you can attune to what you are here for, what you are being called to, how you are meant to evolve. And this does not mean some big purpose. It can, but it could mean just a tiny invitation to allow more joy into your life in this moment, right? That's what I'm hearing them say. It's so sweet when they come in. It's so sweet when they want to offer that magic to all of us. And that feels like enough for today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here with me. I would love to know how you cultivate space for you, for your softness, for your ease. So please leave it in the comments. I will comment back. And I'm sending you so much love. And I promise I will be back again very, very soon.